Your brother needs school more than you do. You are a girl. Learn how to cook, farm, wash clothes, and take care of your home. Those things will help you when.
Papa, Mama, my uniform is torn.
We don't have money for that now.
But Michael needs his school fees too.
Can't I also continue school?
Anna, you are becoming a big girl. There is no need to waste money on your education.
Why?
Because you will marry one day. Anna is a girl. One day she will marry and leave this house. Why should I waste money educating somebody who will eventually...
In a small Nigerian village surrounded by green farms, red earth roads, palm trees, and old mud houses stood a family that looked ordinary from the outside. The family consisted of 4 people. There was a hard-working farmer named Daniel, his wife Grace, their son Michael, and their daughter Anna. Daniel and Grace loved their children, but they had one belief that would change the entire course of their family's life. They believed that educating a boy was an investment, but educating a girl was a waste. Whenever anyone in the village talked about sending their children to school, Daniel would proudly say, "My son will go as far as he wants. He will attend university and become a great man." But whenever the conversation turned to Anna, his voice would change. Anna is a girl. One day she will marry and leave this house. Why should I waste money educating somebody who will eventually belong to another family? Grace agreed with him. Sometimes she would even tell Anna, "Your brother needs school more than you do. You are a girl.
Learn how to
cook, farm, wash clothes, and take care of your home.
Those things will
help you when you get married." Anna was only 7 years old when she first started school. She loved it. Every morning she would wake up before sunrise, wash her face, put on her uniform, and run along the dusty village road with her books held tightly against her chest. She loved learning new words. She loved numbers. She loved listening to her teacher read stories. Most of all, she loved writing her name. Whenever she successfully wrote Anna on a piece of paper, she would smile proudly. But while Anna was falling in love with education, her parents were already planning to take it away from her. Her brother Michael was older than her by 2 years, and Daniel and Grace were determined to give him everything they could. Michael received new uniforms. Michael received new shoes. Michael received books. Michael received school fees on time. Anna received whatever was left. Sometimes she went to school in a uniform that was already too small. Sometimes her sandals had holes in them, and sometimes she had no lunch. But she never complained. Then, one rainy season, Anna's uniform finally tore badly. The tear ran from her waist almost to her knee. She tried sewing it herself. She used a needle and thread and sat beside the small lantern at night, carefully stitching the torn material. But the next morning the seam opened again. When she arrived at school, some of the children laughed. Anna lowered her head. Her teacher noticed. Anna, what happened to your uniform?
It tore,
Anna
Ma.
quietly replied.
Tell your parents.
It tore, Ma. Tell your parents. Anna nodded, but she already knew what her parents would say. That evening, she stood before Daniel and Grace. "Papa, Mama, my uniform is torn. The teacher said I need another one." Daniel looked at her. "We don't have money for that now. But Michael needs his school fees too," Grace added. Anna stared at them. "Can't I also continue school?" Daniel shook his head. "Anna, you are becoming a big girl. There is no need to waste money on your education." She didn't understand. "Why?" "Because you will marry one day." Those words broke something inside her. Anna was only 12. She wasn't thinking about marriage. She was thinking about becoming a teacher. She was thinking about university. She was thinking about reading books. She was thinking about making her parents proud. But her dreams meant nothing to them. The following week, Anna stopped going to school. First, she thought it was temporary. She believed that perhaps her father would change his mind. He didn't. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Her books were packed away. Her uniform was folded and placed inside a wooden box. And the girl who once ran happily to school every morning now woke before everyone else to fetch water, sweep the compound, cook food, wash clothes, and work on the family farm. While Michael went to school, Anna stayed behind. While Michael learned mathematics, Anna learned how to plant cassava. While Michael learned English, Anna learned how to wash her father's work clothes. While Michael prepared for examinations, Anna carried baskets of farm produce. Nobody asked her what she wanted to become. Nobody asked whether she was happy. They simply assumed that because she was a girl, her dreams didn't matter. But Anna never forgot school. She never forgot the letters she had learned. She never forgot the feeling of holding a book. And most importantly, she never forgot her dream. Years passed. Michael grew older. Daniel worked tirelessly to make sure his son continued his education. Eventually, Michael gained admission into a university in the city. The entire village celebrated. Daniel slaughtered a chicken. Grace cooked a huge pot of food. Relatives came to congratulate them. Michael packed his clothes into a large bag and prepared to leave. Anna stood outside watching him. She was proud of her brother. Even though she had been denied education, she never hated him. As Michael prepared to leave, Anna approached him. "Michael, please bring me some books whenever you come home." Michael laughed. "What will you do with books?" "I want to read." Michael looked at her and laughed even harder. "You?" Anna lowered her eyes. "Yes. You can't even write your name properly anymore." Anna remained silent. Michael walked away. But his words stayed with her. "You can't even write your name." That night, Anna cried quietly. She cried because her brother was right. She could barely remember some of the letters she had learned as a child. She could not write sentences. She couldn't speak English confidently. But instead of allowing those words to destroy her, she decided they would become her motivation. From that day forward, Anna began teaching herself. Whenever Michael returned from university, he would bring books home. Anna waited until everyone was asleep. Then she quietly entered the room where Michael kept his books. She would take one. Sometimes it was an English textbook. Sometimes it was a mathematics book. Sometimes it was a dictionary. She would carry the book down to the river near the village. There, beneath a large tree, she studied. She started with the alphabet. A, B, C, D. She wrote each letter in the sand. Then she practiced words. House, water, school, family, education. Whenever she made mistakes, she erased them and tried again. She didn't have a teacher. She didn't have a classroom. She didn't have a desk. She had only a borrowed book, a piece of charcoal, and a stubborn determination. Every morning she returned home before anyone woke up. Then she continued with her chores. She worked in the farm. She cooked. She cleaned. She fetched water. She washed clothes. But every free moment belonged to her education. Sometimes she studied under the moonlight. Sometimes she used an old candle. Sometimes she read while sitting beside the cooking fire. And slowly something incredible happened. Anna began to learn. She could read simple sentences, then longer ones. She started writing. First her name, then her parents' names, then sentences. Eventually she began speaking English. It wasn't perfect, but she didn't care. She knew she was improving. Meanwhile, Michael was enjoying university life. He came home during holidays wearing expensive clothes and speaking English everywhere. He had become different. The humble village boy who once played football barefoot was now arrogant. Whenever he saw Anna reading, he laughed. "You are still doing this?" Anna smiled. "Yes. Do you really think you can become educated now?" She said nothing. Michael shook his head. "Some people simply don't have brains for education." Anna lowered her eyes. But inside her heart, she repeated one sentence. "I will prove you wrong." After university, Michael returned to the village. Everyone expected him to find a good job. Daniel believed his son's education would transform the family. But Michael did not want to work. He wanted his parents to continue providing everything. He woke up late. He spent most of his days on his phone. He demanded money. He complained about village life. And eventually, he became involved with two different young women. Neither relationship was serious. But both women became pregnant. Michael panicked. Instead of taking responsibility, he hid the pregnancies from his parents. When the children were born, he brought them to the village. One baby was placed in Grace's arms. The other was carried by another relative. Grace stared at her son in disbelief. "Michael, what have you done?" Michael shrugged. "They are your grandchildren. Where are their mothers?" "I don't know. They can take care of themselves." Grace began to cry. Daniel was furious. "After all the money we spent educating you, this is what you brought home?" Michael had no answer. For the first time, Daniel began questioning the choices he had made. He had spent years believing that educating his son would guarantee his family's future. But his educated son had returned home unemployed and irresponsible. Meanwhile, the daughter he had refused to educate was working harder than everyone. Anna was now a young woman. She worked on people's farms. She washed clothes for wealthy families. She cleaned houses. She carried loads in the market. She saved every coin. People often asked her, "Anna, what are you saving for?" She would simply smile. Something important. She had a dream. She wanted to go back to school. And she refused to let age stop her. After years of saving, Anna finally had enough money to leave the village. One morning she packed a small bag. Grace watched her. "Where are you going?" "Lagos." "Lagos?" "Yes." "What will you do there?" "I will work." Daniel looked at her. "You don't know anyone there." "I know. Then why are you going?" Anna looked at her father. "Because I don't want to spend the rest of my life wishing I had tried." Daniel said nothing. Anna left the village with a small bag, a little money, and a dream bigger than anything her parents had ever imagined for her. Lagos was nothing like her village. It was noisy, crowded, fast, expensive. People moved as though they were always late. First, Anna struggled. She rented a tiny room. She worked wherever she could. There were days when she barely ate. There were nights when she cried herself to sleep. But she remembered the river. She remembered the books. She remembered Michael's words. "You can't even write your name." One afternoon, Anna found a small roadside space that was available for rent. She decided to open a small food and drink stand. It wasn't fancy. It had a few plastic chairs, a small table, a cooler, some cooking equipment. But Anna worked hard. She sold rice. She sold beans. She sold drinks. She served people with a smile. At night she studied. During the day she worked. Slowly customers began returning. Her little roadside business grew. Anna saved money. Then she enrolled in school. Going back to school as an adult was not easy. Some younger students laughed at her. One day a girl asked, "Ma, are you sure you're in the right class?" Anna laughed. "Yes. I'm here to learn." She refused to be embarrassed. She studied harder than everyone. She passed her examinations. Then she went further. She gained admission into university. For the first time in her life, Anna wore a university identity card. She stood outside the university gate holding it in her hands. Tears filled her eyes. She remembered the 12-year-old girl whose parents had told her education was useless. She remembered the torn uniform. She remembered studying beside the river. She remembered writing letters in the sand. And she smiled. "I made it this far." University was difficult. Anna still had responsibilities. She continued running her small business. She studied late. She sometimes slept only a few hours. There were moments when she wanted to give up. But every time she felt tired, she reminded herself why she started. Eventually, graduation day arrived. Anna wore her graduation gown. She held her certificate. And for the first time, she didn't feel like the girl who had been left behind. She felt like the woman who had fought her way forward. After graduation, Anna began applying for jobs. Many companies rejected her. Some wanted experience. Others wanted younger candidates. But Anna continued applying. Then one morning she received an email. She had been invited for an interview at one of the biggest companies in Lagos. Anna couldn't believe it. She prepared carefully. She wore a simple but beautiful outfit. She carried her documents. She walked into the company. During the interview, the managers asked her difficult questions. Anna answered confidently. Her English was clear. Her knowledge was strong. Her determination was obvious. A few days later, her phone rang. "Hello, is this Anna?" "Yes. We are pleased to offer you the position." Anna covered her mouth. Tears rolled down her face. She had finally done it. The girl who had once been told education was useless had become a highly educated professional. And her salary was more than she had ever imagined earning. Months passed. Anna bought her first car. It wasn't the most expensive car in Lagos. But to her it was priceless. Because every part of it represented sacrifice. One weekend, Anna decided to return home. She drove toward the village. As her car entered the familiar dusty road, people began staring. Children ran behind the vehicle. Farmers stopped working. Everyone wondered who the successful woman was. Anna parked in front of her parents' house. Daniel was sitting outside. Grace was washing clothes. Neither of them recognized her immediately. Anna stepped out of the car. "Papa." Daniel looked up. He stared at her. "Who are you?" Anna smiled. "It's me." Grace dropped the cloth in her hands. "Anna." "Yes, Mama." Grace stood frozen. She looked at the car, then at Anna, then back at the car. Daniel slowly stood. "Is this your car?" Anna nodded. Daniel couldn't speak. Grace walked toward her daughter. "Where have you been?" "Lagos." "We thought you were just working there." "I was working." "Then how did you become this?" Anna smiled. "I went back to school." Silence filled the compound. Daniel stared at her. "You went back to school?" "Yes, Papa." "When?" "After I left the village." Grace began crying. Anna walked toward her mother. "Mama, please don't cry." Grace hugged her. "I didn't know." Anna whispered. "I know." Daniel sat down slowly. His face was filled with regret. He remembered the day he had refused to pay Anna's school fees. He remembered her torn uniform. He remembered telling her that educating a girl was a waste of money. He looked at the successful woman standing before him. Then he lowered his head. "I was wrong." Anna said nothing. Daniel continued. "I thought your brother would become our future." Anna looked toward the house. Michael was sitting outside. He had no job. He depended on his parents. He looked at Anna's car, then at her clothes, then at the certificate she carried. For once, Michael had nothing to say. "Anna." She smiled. "Hello, Michael." He looked embarrassed. "You really went back to school?" "Yes." "And you graduated?" "Yes." Michael looked down. He remembered all the times he had called her stupid. All the times he had mocked her English. All the times he had told her she couldn't write her own name. Now she was standing before him with a university degree and a high-paying job. He whispered, "I was wrong." Anna nodded. "You were." Michael looked at her. "Can you forgive me?" Anna smiled gently. "I forgave you a long time ago." Michael's eyes became wet. "But I will never forget what you taught me." "What did I teach you?" Anna looked at him. "That nobody should allow another person's opinion to decide their future." The entire family became silent. Daniel finally understood something he had never understood before. Education was never about whether a child was male or female. It was about giving a human being the opportunity to discover what they could become. He had believed that his daughter would leave the family after marriage. But he never imagined that she would leave the village, educate herself, build a career, and return as the person who had changed the family's destiny. Grace looked at Anna's car and smiled through her tears. "My daughter." Anna held her mother's hand. "Mama, I am proud of you." Anna smiled. "Thank you." Then Daniel said something that surprised everyone. "From today, no girl in this family will be denied education." Anna looked at him. Daniel continued, "If we cannot afford it, we will find a way. But no child will be told that education is useless because they are a girl." Anna smiled. The lesson had finally reached home. Years earlier, Anna had sat beside a river teaching herself how to write. She had written letters in the sand because nobody believed she deserved a classroom. But that same girl eventually found her way into a university. She built a business. She earned a degree. She secured a great job. She bought a car. And she returned home successful. Not because life had been easy. Not because someone rescued her. But because she refused to surrender. Her parents had once looked at her and seen only a girl who would eventually marry and leave. Her brother had looked at her and seen an uneducated village girl. But Anna looked at herself and saw something different. She saw potential. She saw a future. She saw a woman who deserved a chance. And sometimes that is all a person needs. One chance. One opportunity. One decision to keep going. Anna's story became known throughout the village. Parents who once believed only boys deserved education began changing their minds. Girls who had been told to stay at home started returning to school. And whenever young girls walked along the village road carrying their school books, Anna would smile, because she knew exactly what those books represented. They represented freedom. They represented opportunity. They represented a future that no parent should ever take away from a child. And perhaps the greatest lesson of Anna's life was this: never allow someone else's limited vision to become the limit of your own destiny. Her parents thought they were protecting their family by educating only their son. Instead, they nearly buried the greatest potential in their home. But Anna proved that a person's beginning does not determine their ending. The girl with the torn uniform became a graduate. The girl who couldn't speak good English became a successful professional. The girl who was told she couldn't even write her name became the woman whose story taught an entire village the importance of education. And the little girl who once sat beside a river writing letters in the sand finally became the woman who wrote her own future. And that was Anna's story, the girl they thought was not worth educating, but who eventually educated herself and built a future nobody saw coming. Never underestimate a child because of where they come from, and never tell a girl that her dreams are less important because she is a girl. If Anna's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful stories from Rita's Tales. Until next time, remember, your beginning does not have to determine your ending. Bye.